tonight on Evening. See inside this historic home for sale in Seattle, once owned by a broadcasting pioneer.
Think about Downton Abbey, but then it's filled with a kind of Great Gatsby glamour.
The Camino Island photographer whose work is redefining artistic expression.
When people look at it, they wonder, is this a photograph or is it a painting?
Plus, look back at the Western Washington locations that made it to the big screen in the 90s.
Seattle was the perfect venue.
Welcome to the show from Nick's magnificent indoor playground in Issaquah. I'm St. Brian, and we are here at this new place to find out what happens when kids put down their devices and reconnect with their imaginations.
There's a fire burning somewhere in Tiny Town, so these firefighters are getting ready to save the day, while the police do what they can to keep the crooks locked up. It's all happening at Nick's magnificent indoor playground.
Hey guys, welcome in.
Nick Phillips's dream come true.
I'm like a big kid, and so I designed this for what I would have wanted when I was a kid.
A place to play and experience joy. But it took a few years.
Hey Evie.
Nick started designing this upscale playground when twin sons Logan and Lucas were about this age.
I'd go into the playgrounds and there was never any place to sit or any healthy food to eat, and I thought I can't be the only one.
Nick says the playground is designed with parents in mind. Comfortable seating areas, servers taking orders, no charge to get in there and join the fun.
His grandpa was a police officer for 40 years, so it's fun to see him in uniform.
There's a room for tiny tykes to play.
Keep going, keep going.
There are fully functional cranes and playgrounds designed for climbing and sliding. Other places may charge you by the hour. Nick's most magnificent idea might be giving parents and kids time to let their imaginations soar.
There's no time limits. I want it to be where you're not feeling rushed and under the gun. You can just come in and relax and enjoy your time here.
Hey, where's the fire, kid? Nick's Magnificent Playground is open every day of the week starting at 9 a.m. and the cost is $18 per kid. All right, we're going to head to Seattle now where there is a historic home for sale that was once owned by a trailblazer in local broadcasting. It is this week's On Real Estate.
If walls could talk, this Capitol Hill mansion, built in 1919, would have so many stories to tell.
We're standing in the home of a media superstar. Dorothy Bullitt was inherited a lot of wealth from her father, who was a lumber baron, made a lot of money during the gold rush.
Dorothy Bullitt invested that fortune in philanthropic causes and in a broadcasting career which included King TV, Seattle's first TV station.
The story is remarkable in that she was a woman who really taught herself and through her own devices took over and built this media empire.
Now this home, fit for an empress, is on the market, ready for new owners.
Think about Downton Abbey, formal Tudor revival exterior, but then it's filled with a kind of Great Gatsby glamour. The living room is incredible. You've got a living room with bookshelves on one end, beautiful windows that face out onto this very elegant courtyard. The fireplace is original to the house. It's from 1919, made of Italian marble with this beautiful copper inlay. The kitchen has a beautiful soft blue tone. There's a wall of windows facing out into the rear courtyard and all the latest 8-burner range. Formal dining room, you can certainly entertain 10 or 12 people quite easily in there.
Having a party? You'll want to join your guests downstairs.
One central area in the basement was converted into a speakeasy. Dramatic floor-to-ceiling bars that are backlit. They created just a large media room to the left, and then to the right, just a massive and luxurious another bedroom. I would say the best bathroom down in the basement, go figure.
There are 4 bedrooms on the second floor. This was Dorothy Bullitt's favorite.
It's probably the most private. It's pulled back from East Gaylor Street. It has the marquetry walls, so this beautiful woodwork all over the walls. In some ways, this house lives like a hotel. So each of the bedrooms has its wonderful own ensuite bathroom, oftentimes a walk-in closet, but they all have their own individual character.
Among the modern touches, a garage converted into a gym.
It has heated floors and skylights and a hydraulic lift, so you can open it up if you want to be on display. There is a sauna, a walk-in sauna, and then in this beautiful plunge pool. For Seattle, it's a large home, but it feels very intimate. It actually is unpretentious, kind of like Dorothy Bullitt herself.
The Bullitt Mansion, a home with a storied past, updated for its future owners.
This is one of the most comfortable and wonderful places that I've ever represented in Seattle. It's a beloved property.
Such a beautiful home. Asking price for the Bullitt Mansion is just under $5 million. Do you have $5 million?
I have.
You have $0. That's too bad. A Seattle cookbook author has just been nominated for a James Beard Award, which is a big deal because they're kind of known as the Oscars of food.
When he's not using science to make the world a better place, Nathan Myhrvold breaks glass.
You asked if they break. And the answer is yes, they do.
Cuts cookware in half. And plays with his food.
This button is labeled Mayhem, and it's not wrong.
Using robots and cameras he's built at his Factorial laboratory.
Ready? We love to do things that show you a view of food you just don't normally see.
Myhrvold's mad genius approach to food is cataloged in one of the world's most expensive cookbooks. Modernist Cuisine is 6 volumes, weighing in at more than 40 pounds. It's $650 for the set, and critics call it the cookbook to end all cookbooks.
So for my books, I wanted to show people a vision of food they hadn't seen before.
And to do that, he did things people haven't done before. Things with saws and torches.
The reason that we go to the efforts that we go to make a photograph is because I want something different. Because this isn't just like everybody's Instagram picture of what they had for dinner. It's because this is really trying to evoke something that goes well beyond that.
These images are so popular, Myhrvold opened Modernist Cuisine Gallery, the first ever devoted to fine art food photography by one artist.
First of all, I think food is beautiful. Yet, food as a subject for art just is very hard to find. You know, in the Renaissance, they would paint still lifes, and there's a classic old master tradition of still lifes for many, many years, but not so much anymore.
A definite Renaissance man, Nathan has been nominated for a James Beard Award for Modernist Bread at Home, which you can find on Amazon or at your local bookstore.
When we return,
Stadium High School is a cool high school, and Heath Ledger is a cool guy.
take a look back at the movies shot around the Puget Sound. But up next,
when people look at it, they wonder, is this a photograph or is it a painting?
The Camano Island photographer whose work is redefining artistic expression.
Wow!
Local stories make a difference.
I want to check that out.
With the power to enrich lives, strengthen communities, and make us smile. Evening is made possible by Primera Blue Cross. Primera Blue Cross, always in your corner.
Welcome back to the show from Nick's magnificent indoor playground in Issaquah, where kids can pretend to be a firefighter, or maybe a police officer, or how about a bad guy? You know, when acclaimed commercial photographer Doug Landreth moved to Camano Island, he decided to focus his energy on a new kind of art. Jose has his story.
Images that celebrate the outdoors, animals, people, and the forgotten places.
When I was a commercial advertising photographer, it was sort of my job to make things look perfect, but I always wanted to get something a little bit more emotive. The feeling of being out in nature by yourself and that sense of peace and contentment. If I have a subject, I'll try and glorify that subject in a way. I like to get underneath and really discover what caused me to pick up the camera and aim it at something in the first place. Moving up to Camino, we were all of a sudden surrounded by nature and all these critters in my backyard. Come to Papa.
That's when the idea came up to create one of his great art pieces.
I call it backyard fantasy. When people look at it, they wonder, is this a photograph or is it a painting? We can do what painters have been able to do for centuries, and that is create an image that's in our mind and that's not necessarily what's in front of the camera at any one point in time.
What starts with a photo becomes an image with many layers.
I shoot textures a lot. I create a lot of textural imagery, and I will incorporate textures into a lot of my imagery to provide sort of that tactile. You have bodies of work that belong together, that want to play together, and so it's a real fun, creative endeavor to pair images up.
Beautiful images that Doug likes to share with others.
We are at the historic 1906 Camino City Schoolhouse. We're here promoting the upcoming Camino Island studio tour.
He also has published several books highlighting his work.
I have a book that I call Portraits of Nature because people aren't the only ones that deserve a decent portrait.
Art that he hopes it portrays a positive and emotional reaction.
All right, thank you, Jose. If you'd like to meet Doug and see his work in person, you can join the Camino Island Studio Tour this weekend, Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock are reprising their roles in Practical Magic 2, which we have just learned is going to be coming out in September of next year. Of course, Practical Magic, the first one, was shot in our area back in the 90s, as were so many great movies.
This is famously from Sleepless in Seattle.
Tiramisu. What is tiramisu? You'll find out.
At the Athenian, you can sit where they sat. There's a good reason so much of the film takes place in Seattle restaurants. The director.
Nora Ephron was a huge foodie, and so she realized she had to incorporate Pike Place into this somehow because she loved it so much. Now we're in front of the Coryell Court Apartments, which is the setting for Cameron Crowe's Singles. They all live here in this kind of Melrose Place-like commune. This is like a Seattle hub for the 90s.
This spot on Capitol Hill is one of many living sets in the film, which was shot just before the explosion of grunge and features many of the musicians who became household names.
They're all characters in this film. It's marinated in Seattle.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's really cool, isn't it?
Now we're in front of the Fairmont Olympic, which used to be the Four Seasons back when, in 1994, when Disclosure was shot here.
The movie, starring Demi Moore and Michael Douglas, showcases everything from ferries to the city's future and tech.
There's actually a whole sequence that's shot up in the rooms up here with a VR headset. The Fairmont has aged much more gracefully than much of this film.
1995's Assassins brought Sylvester Stallone, Antonio Banderas, and Julianne Moore to town.
If you want to watch Seattle in the 90s, watch the first half of Assassins because it's set under the viaduct and it's set in Pioneer Square, and then there's a whole scene on the monorail.
This North Bend gas station was the site of a horrifying abduction in 1993's The Vanishing.
It's where Kiefer Sutherland and Sandra Bullock pull off for an unfortunate event.
Diane.
It's funny because you can watch the movie and you can see where the clear cuts had happened on the mountain behind us that are now 31 years of growth that have occurred since then.
Tacoma also went Hollywood for 1992's Hand That Rocks the Cradle and 1999's 10 Things I Hate About You.
Stadium High School is a cool high school, and Heath Ledger is a cool guy.
Skagit County is also captured on film in 1993's This Boy's Life.
With Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro and Alan Barkin, and it's still a stunning movie.
Even though Seattle isn't the filming hub it used to be, it was the right place at the right time in the 90s.
There's something special. There's something unique about the weather, about the atmosphere, about the people, about the architecture. Seattle was the perfect venue.
And what do you know? I actually visited the Hand That Rocks the Cradle house in Tacoma just the other weekend. It was all part of a historic homes tour. There is no word on where Practical Magic 2 will be shot. Maybe in the PNW. We'll find out.
Grab a drink at the dive bar that'll take you back in time.
We wanted it to make it feel like a discotheque, a go-go.
Best Northwest Escapes is sponsored by unforgettable Grays Harbor County.
Welcome back to the show from Nick's magnificent indoor playground in Issaquah. Time is running out to win that trip to the West Coast. Here's what you need to do before Sunday. Got a favorite destination bakery, favorite cabin getaway, or campground? Then go to king5.com/escapes to vote for your favorites in the 29th annual Best Northwest Escapes. Each vote enters you a chance to win a Grays Harbor getaway to Seabrook, Westport, and Ocean Shores worth $5,000. There are 50 categories. That means 50 chances to win a vacation on the coast. Vote for your favorite Best Northwest Escapes right now. There's a spot on Tacoma's 6th Avenue that will send you right back in time. It is this week's 5-star dive bar.
I already love what the sign says outside. Drinks, food, and rock and roll.
Jose, we're in Busybody on 6th Avenue. Busybody is a name of a Sonic song. Sonics are kind of the granddaddy of punk and garage rock. The decor, the red, the purple, and the black are inspired by Etiquette Records, which was the label that was founded right here on 6th back in the early 1960s.
That was more just when the music scene was really predominant in Tacoma.
For somebody who's never been in this place, how would you describe it?
Basically, something that would be straight out of the 60s. 60s was a cultural explosion, and it was such a massive creative burst from the youth.
We wanted it to make it feel like a discotheque, a go-go.
It really feels like you travel through the time machine.
We just wanted it to be a fun, inviting place that anyone can come into and have a good time. We kind of exemplify that through the music we play.
It's all vinyl, usually all 45s. It's just that kind of place. It's authentic, and it comes from a place of honesty.
If they give you the chance to play only one song, one record, what would you pick?
I could never narrow that down. It would have to be something like Get Down With It from Little Richard.
I said, and get down with it.
Pacific Northwest's best rock and roll DJ for my money.
Now that we know that, it's time for the happy hour and the special drinks.
The idea behind the cocktail program, we wanted everything to be high quality product, a slightly elevated cocktail list, but it's still really fun and accessible. My favorite drink would be this one right here, the Hustler. This is a mezcal-based cocktail. It has some Becherovka in it, which is like a honey spiced liqueur, and a little ginger in there. It's topped off with a little smoky scotch. Hits all those points. And we do happy hour early in the day from 4 to 6, and again late night from 10 to midnight. We have $5 San Miguel Pilsens, which is a really cool Filipino Pilsner. E9 Pilsner with a shot of Fernet for $10. We've got non-alcoholic beers. We have some really good seltzer options. I love that category has exploded so much, so they can still feel included, have a good time.
It's just a fun bar. It's a testament to the timelessness of Tacoma and Tacoma rock and roll.
So if you want to be groovy on your next happy hour, you know the place to visit.
All right, thank you, Jose. Busybody is on Tacoma 6th Avenue, and it is open every day of the week.
Now in our 39th season, Evening shares local stories that make our community shine. Thanks to support from PEMCO Insurance. PEMCO empowers the Northwest to prevent the preventable. Learn how at PEMCO.com.
Hola, Jose here with a special performance leaping to the stage next week. Made up of dancers and performers from Ukraine, the Grand Kyiv Ballet is coming to Seattle for one night only to perform the timeless classic Swan Lake. The ballet tells the story of a young princess turned into a swan by an evil sorcerer. The show takes place next Wednesday, May 21st at Macaw Hall. Tickets for the show can be found online now.
Welcome back to the show from Nick's magnificent indoor playground, where maybe the best thing is that you get to sit back with a cup of coffee, some food to eat, while the kids go nuts for an unlimited amount of time. Unfortunately, we are out of time. We'll catch you next time.